This is the Wrap on Aging, and I'm Rob Ence, your host with the Utah Commission on Aging, broadcasting from Scope Radio. The Wrap on Aging explains public policy, education, and research that informs and empowers older adults. Dave Barry, American columnist and humorist, once said, "Gravity is a contributing factor in nearly 73% of all accidents involving falling objects." Wry humor indeed. But what if we are the falling object? We learned about the law of gravity before we learned to walk or ride a bike, or as we learned to walk and ride a bike. There is a reason Newton called it a law. Gravity always wins. Today we're going to talk about the risks and consequences of falling, especially for older adults, and leave you with some very practical tips and resources to help you and your loved ones prevent falls, especially during these winter months. Our guests today are two experts and members of the Utah Falls Prevention Alliance, a coalition of state and local agencies, healthcare providers, and first responders. Sally Aerts is a physical therapist and co-chair of the Alliance, along with Janet Iwamoto, senator from the Utah State Legislature. And Carol Avery is an educator with the Salt Lake County Health Department who coordinates and leads falls prevention classes for older adults. Welcome, Sally and Carol. In Utah, we love our mountains. We hike year-round, and when the snow is right, we use gravity for fun and great exercise. Carol, you told me once that an active person may not even think about falling. Do you see that as a problem?
Yes, I do. Well, think about it. Aging is such a gradual process that a person may not be fully aware that there are fall risks out there. Vision tends to get worse over time. People acquire more medications, either over the counter or even prescription, and their homes might pose some hazards as well.
So even if you're an active person, you're in good shape, this is something you need to be aware of, the hazards around you or the conditions outside, to be on the alert and to take precautions.
Yes, correct? Yes, especially as we have winter coming ahead. We've already had a snowfall, and so it's going to be icy out there.
So with this winter and wet weather, the perils of navigating slippery driveways and sidewalks and icy parking lots and crosswalks means all of us must pay attention and take simple precautions. Sally, in your experience, what's the biggest reason boomers, young and old, may suffer a bad fall?
Well, there are many reasons that we may fall, but the biggest single reason is a decline in our strength and balance as we age. So that makes it more difficult to catch and keep ourselves upright when we start to lose our balance. But the good news is that we can slow that decline through regular exercise.
You're listening to the Wrap on Aging podcast from Scope Radio. I'm your host, Rob Ence, with the Utah Commission on Aging. And today, we're talking about falls prevention, especially during the winter season. Sally, there are personal and societal costs to falls-related injuries. We know that falls are the leading cause of injury-related death and hospitalizations of Utahns 65 and older. That's sobering. What are some of the impact issues associated with falls?
Yeah, Rob, those statistics are really sobering, but just as important to recognize are the long-term consequences of falling. So of those people who are hospitalized after a fall, 38% have suffered a hip fracture and 24% have a head injury. And these injuries can take a long time to recover from and can potentially have serious impacts on your mobility and independence. You know, 2/3 of people who fall will fall again within 6 months. So if you've had a fall or you've had a near fall, just take a moment to figure out what happened and then make some changes to prevent a future fall.
Great. So I understand falls are going to be more, it's not a matter of if, but when. And what we learn from that and how we prepare ourselves for future mitigation is an important thing.
That's right. I mean, everybody falls. It's just as we get older, we fall more often, and the consequences are more severe.
Recovery not so fast.
Right.
So, Carol, you've been involved with many individuals who've experienced the effects of a bad fall in your work. Can you share one of your stories with us?
I would. I knew a woman, I actually know her still, who moved from sunny California to Utah to ski. One day, a few years ago, she had an unexpected fall hazard appear. A hose lying in a groove between sidewalk slabs. she fell and injured her back. It started a long road to recovery. She decided to participate in a fall prevention series I was leading. It's called Stepping On. She found it to be so beneficial that she eventually trained to become a leader, and now she's one of our active volunteers. I think it still affects her, though.
So the recovery has been over what number of years?
I've known her for about 3 years, and I think it happened within the year before that.
Yeah, a painful journey, I'm sure.
Yes, definitely. And psychologically, it really hit her. I don't know if she's gotten back to skiing.
Right. Well, the story of the hose is very personal to me as well, as I had a very active 88-year-old father who was involved with all kinds of activities at the university. One day, tripped over the hose in the driveway, broke his hip, was never the same. And the decline is sadly continuous. Sally, how about you? Can you share a story with something you've run across?
Sure. Yeah. I have a friend who's quite elderly, and she went out one morning to get her garbage can. The garbage truck came through, picked it up. So she's like, oh, I'll go get it. Walked out, didn't realize it was slippery, fell, broke her hip. Laid on the ground for 15, 20 minutes before someone found her, and then called 911. So, she did get a hip replacement, but she's moving a little bit slower, not quite as confident anymore either.
We tend to get a little queasy when we've had an experience like that and just not sure of ourselves. It takes a while to build that confidence back, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
You're listening to the Rap on Aging podcast from Scope Radio. I'm your host, Rob Ence, with the Utah Commission on Aging. And today in our last segment, we're going to share some practical advice on how to prevent falls. So Carol and Sally, we baby boomers grew up watching ads from the U.S. Forest Service featuring Smokey Bear, whose famous tagline was, "Only you can prevent forest fires." Now, taking a cue from Smokey, we can say with certainty that you can prevent a nasty fall. Carol, share with us some of the programs and services available to the public.
I just mentioned Stepping On. This is an evidence-based program that hails from Australia, and the funny name, title, Stepping On, comes from there too. It is a 7-week series that's very comprehensive, covering any aspect of falls that you could expect to encounter. We invite experts such as physical therapists, pharmacists, and also vision experts to come and share what they know about preventing falls. So that's available. Tai Chi for older adults is now being offered through community centers that cater to older adults, as well as an interesting class that I've participated in when I can, called Enhanced Fitness. And what it does is it scales down those high-impact aerobics classes down to more of the speed that we can handle, and offers the strength, balance, flexibility, a little bit of aerobic activity within them. These are free, by the way. And so there are a lot of services that are available in your community if you just look for them.
So talk to us a little bit about where people can go to find these activities.
Okay. In Salt Lake County, what I would recommend is that you contact Salt Lake County Aging and Adult Services and find out where a center is in your location. For anyone outside of the Salt Lake area, there is the Utah State Division for Aging and Adult Services. And I understand, Rob, that you're going to have the links to these on the website?
We will. We'll post them all.
And then outside of Utah, for the rest of the United States, the best place to go is eldercare.gov.
So these classes and offerings, you indicated that they are free, offered by the agencies in the states and in the counties.
Yes, they are.
So what are the outcomes hoped for in these programs? What do we hope to accomplish?
Well, there are statistics to show that a person who completes the Stepping On series can expect to encounter up to a third less risk of falling, and that's significant. I I know that there would be data on the Tai Chi and enhanced fitness. I just don't happen to have that with me right now.
Sure.
But they are evidence-based, so you can tell that obviously for the Centers for Disease Control to approve these, they have to have the data to back them up.
And so an individual, even when traveling, can pretty much go anywhere in the country, contact a local area agency on aging, and find classes they can participate with these Tai Chi and stepping on and so on, correct?
Yes, all of these programs are linked to the Older Americans Act.
That's terrific.
So, yes.
So, Sally, earlier you mentioned the importance of strength and balance, particularly as we age. What are some other tips that you'd like to share that build and aid prevention?
Yeah, well, you want to make sure that you are doing a regular strength and balance exercise program. So walking is good exercise, but unless you're walking uphill, you're not increasing your leg strength. So you can increase your strength by going to a gym and lifting weights. You can take one of the classes that Carol talked about, or you can do something as simple as just standing up from a chair and sitting down slowly and repeat that, 10, 20, even 30 times. And if you are doing strengthening exercises already, then you need to add a balance component to those exercises. So some really fun things that you can do for balance are dance, ping pong, pickleball is really popular right now. So those activities involve like changing directions while you're moving, which really helps to improve our balance.
And so I would imagine for many of us who have to check our pride at the door as we go and engage in dance and Tai Chi and just know that the benefit is better than the look.
Yeah, that's right. The benefit's better than the look. And so everybody's doing the same thing and you can have fun doing it together.
Absolutely. Doing it together is a really important thing because I think one of the challenges we face while we age is isolation and loss of our connection with sociality. And I think that having the opportunity to go to these classes, meet new people, sharing a common goal is another way that we enhance our aging experience.
That's absolutely true.
Great. Carol, just a couple of other tips from you. You shared a while ago some really practical things people can do while preparing for the winter season.
Okay. I could give you a really long list, so I'll try
give us some
drill
highlights.
It down a little. First question to ask yourself, do I really need to go outside in these conditions? And what that might mean is that you have to think ahead to what you have in your home so that you don't have to go out when it's icy and snowy and even sometimes rainy. But if you choose to go out, think a little bit about what you need to take with you before heading outside. And I like to encourage people to purchase a trek stick or two. And these are the hiking sticks that people use when they go on trails. But I think here in the valley, at least Salt Lake Valley, you do not look like a strange person taking them, and you might not quite be ready for a cane, if you know what I mean. There are special ice tips that you can add to a trek stick or a cane. You can find these at a medical supply store. I would recommend finding some grippy rubber shoe covers that have little metal tips or wrapped with wire to give you a little more traction, especially on ice. And especially think of your footwear. Make sure it's non-slip, has deep tread in the boots. And then here's another hint. This is from the lady who had that nasty fall. Take ice melt either in a baggie or she uses a cheese shaker jar that's emptied out and it has the little holes in the top where she can just sprinkle it out. You can use that or rock salt or even kitty litter. Now, don't ask me why kitty litter works, but people have told me it does. Oh, and make sure you take your cell phone with you.
So the idea with the shaker is that if you're getting out of a car in a slippery parking lot, you would put a little of the rock salt on the ground and just secure your footing.
Yes, and then also you could have it in your purse or your pocket, and if you encounter a slippery spot. This could be from someone who's actually shoveled their walks, and then the sun's come out, and there's now a really icy surface to that walk.
Right. Now we know cats are so stable, right?
Yes.
Sally, any other thoughts from you, tips that you'd like to share?
Yeah, most falls happen in and around the home. So just taking a look around your home, picking up clutter, that's a real trip hazard. Making sure you have proper lighting. So, getting some night lights to light the hallway when you're out at night, or making sure you have good grab bars in the bathroom or good sturdy stair rails when you're going down the steps. Really important.
So there are things, obviously, outside and inside that we can do to be better prepared and to be aware of. And you mentioned a little while ago the impact of aging. And we deal with medications. We deal with eyesight. What are some practical things people should be doing on a regular basis to make sure they're managing the health side to protect them from potential falls?
Right. So the CDC and the American Geriatric Society recommends that you get your vision and your hearing checked annually. And that you have your medications reviewed annually. So I'd just like to make a note that the medication review is more than going in to see your doctor and having the medical assistant or the nurse just verify that you're taking the medications that are on the electronic health records. You really want to either talk to your doctor or your pharmacist and have them do a full review of your medications, see if there's any adjustments that need to be made.
That's great advice. And we mentioned, Carol, some websites that we definitely want to refer people to where there are a significant amount of resources available. Last word from you, things that you'd like to share with our audience.
Well, just think about how mobile or immobile you might be 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 15 years from now. AARP came out with a statement that was pretty interesting a while back, saying that most people, and they researched it, most people want to stay in their own homes, and they are actually happier that way. So if you bought a home that's a split level or has stairs, a basement, think about how you're going to navigate around that. Are your hallways large enough to accommodate a walker or possibly even a wheelchair? And then you may even need to construct a ramp down the road to get to your front door. There are a lot of things you can do. In the meantime, picking up clutter and putting in more lighting, a grab bar in the bathroom, these are all things, simple things that you can do right now. And then think about, what could be done down the road. And engage your family in it, too. I've heard so many older people say to me, don't give me any more desk collectors. So think about something that's more practical that you can all chip in, as a family and get somebody who's older and to help them stay safe and secure.
The other thing I'd like to just offer there is that on those websites, there will also be resources available for people who may need assistance in making these modifications to their homes.
Yes.
Not everyone has the resources to do that, and we want to make sure that others get access to that. Sally, last word from you.
Yeah, I would just say we can't underestimate the importance of staying active. So being a regular exercise, adopting new habits if you need to get into that pattern. And like I have said before, including strength and balance in your exercise program. Excellent.
Well, we thank you both very much for joining with us. And to our listeners out there, we wish everyone a safe winter season. We ask our listeners, if you or someone you care about is an older adult, we encourage you to visit our site and check out these online resources compiled by the Utah Falls Prevention Alliance. They are found at www.utahfallsprevention.org. That's www.utahfallsprevention.org. Borrowing from author Cassia Leo's metaphor, this is the way we fall. First, we lose our balance, teetering precariously on the edge of uncertainty until, mercilessly, gravity takes over. You can't outshine gravity. Thank you again, our guest, Sally Aerts, Carol Avery, and thanks to you for listening. If you have any questions about this issue or suggestions on topics you'd like us to talk about, please send an email to utahaging@gmail.com. Remember to check out our website and other podcasts at www.ucoa.utah.edu. And follow us on Facebook. I'm Rob Ence, Executive Director of the Utah Commission on Aging, and this has been The Wrap on Aging.